Imagine a city so old, its origins are cloaked in divine mythology. A place where the gods themselves are said to have first touched the earth, where civilization in West Africa was born, and where kings don't just rule, they carry the authority of the heavens. Welcome to Ile-Ife, the legendary cradle of the Yoruba people, a cultural and spiritual epicenter that holds enormous relevance, not only in Nigeria, not only in Africa, but across the entire Black diaspora. In this video, we're peeling back the layers of history, myths, and significance that make Ife one of the most important cultural cities on the continent. And trust me, if you've ever wanted to understand the roots of Black excellence, identity, and spirituality, this is the place to begin. Ile-Ife, often simply called Ife, is located in the heart of Osun State in southwestern Nigeria. Surrounded by towns like Modakeke, Ilesa, and Ede, it sits strategically within Yoruba land and holds a natural geographical advantage. Geographically, it is right in the heart of Osun State. So central, even Google Maps says, "You're home before you arrive." Beyond the roads and buildings, it is a topographical blend of sacred hills, rivers, forests, and shrines. Every path, every stone, every grove here whispers ancestral memories. The city is more than coordinates on a map. It's a living, breathing archive of African civilization. It's the kind of place where history doesn't whisper. It sings, drums, and maybe even side-eyes you if you forget your roots. Now let's step into legend. Because Ile-Ife, history doesn't begin with a date. It begins with a myth. According to Yoruba cosmology, Ife is the site of creation. The supreme being Olodumare instructed the deity Orunmila, guardian of wisdom, to initiate the creation of the earth. He chose Oduduwa, a divine being, to carry out this task. Descending from the heavens using a golden chain, yes, a golden chain, Oduduwa brought with him a handful of soil, a palm nut, and a five-toed rooster. Atop the formless waters of the primordial world, he dropped the soil and let the rooster scratch it wide, forming land. That first landmass, Ile-Ife, meaning the place of expansion. So yes, our story begins with a golden chain from heaven, some dirt, and a five-toed rooster. Honestly, it can sound like the beginning of a Yoruba Avengers movie. This myth isn't just folklore. It frames Ife as the spiritual birthplace of humanity, the Yoruba Eden. Historically, it was established as a city-state around the 9th century AD. Long before European contacts or colonial documentation, Ile-Ife already had advanced systems of urban planning, metallurgy, spiritual hierarchy, and artistic expression. One of its most astounding legacies of ancients is its art. Between the 12th and 15th centuries, artists created terracotta and bronze sculptures with such anatomical precision and emotional depth that early Western archaeologists were convinced they couldn't be African-made. European explorers found the Ife bronze heads and thought, there's no way Africans made this, because apparently excellence comes with a receipt these days. Some accused locals of forging them using European techniques, until further evidence shut that narrative down. These works, including the famous bronze heads, remain among the greatest artistic treasures of Africa. They aren't just beautiful, they're evidence of a highly sophisticated, literate, and spiritually grounded civilization. Now let's talk key events, moments that helped shape Ife's legacy. We begin with the rise of the Yoruba kingdoms. Ife served as the launchpad for the expansion of the Yoruba nation. The children and descendants of Oduduwa were said to have traveled from Ife to found kingdoms like Oyo, Ketu, Sabe, and Benin. This diaspora of leadership solidified it as the source of political legitimacy. To be crowned a true Yoruba king, even in distant regions, you had to trace your spiritual lineage back to Ife. You could say Oduduwa's kids really took go forth and multiply seriously. They left Ife and started empires like they were opening franchises. There is also the Benin connection as well. which is one of the most significant links, is with the Benin Kingdom. Oral tradition holds that Orunmila, a prince of Ife, traveled east and became the progenitor of the Oba of Benin dynasty. That's right, the famed Benin bronzes, their roots tie back to Ife. This created a cultural and spiritual pipeline between two of Africa's most sophisticated kingdoms. And we cannot forget the Modakeke conflict. In the 19th and 20th centuries, it was involved in a prolonged conflict with the neighboring community of Modakeke, rooted in land disputes and colonial manipulation. The conflict strained Ife's internal unity, but also underscores the political complexity and territorial importance of the city. Ile-Ife was never primarily a war kingdom like Oyo. It was the intellectual and spiritual capital of the Yoruba world. Where Oyo boasted cavalry and conquest, it focused on rituals, governance, and oral tradition. It was the seat of philosophy, art, and sacred kingship. Even colonial records speak of its unusual spiritual intensity. British officers often complained of being kept out by the people's fierce adherence to tradition and secrecy. While this delayed modern development, it also protected ancient customs from being diluted. At the center of Ife's leadership structure is the Oni of Ife, one of Africa's most powerful and sacred monarchs. The Oni is not just a political leader, he is a spiritual gatekeeper, a symbol of ancestral continuity. So yes, it wasn't about swords and conquest, it was about spiritual Wi-Fi. They were connected to the ancestors way before 5G. For the selection of a new Oni, it follows a sacred, a quite complex process involving the kingmakers, royal family, potential candidates, etc. In short, it goes like this. There are 4 ruling houses: Gesi, Lafogido, Osinkola, and Ogburu. Upon a vacancy, the rightful house nominates a candidate. Then the kingmakers, led by the Obalufe, the Uni's deputy, and Ifa priest, consult the oracle to confirm divine approval. There is often also the royal family approval, which must be earned or given in some cases. Other key chiefs include the Lower of Ife, senior traditional advisor; the Obalufe, next in line in terms of spiritual and political significance; numerous high chiefs and spiritual custodians who govern various quarters and sacred traditions in the city. This structure keeps the city's governance intertwined with spirituality. Ruling is not just administrative, it's sacred. So why does Ife matter culturally, especially today? Ile-Ife is a symbol of continuity. It is the heartbeat of Yoruba spirituality, art, philosophy, and ancestral memory. Even in modern-day Nigeria, Yoruba people still perform rites that originated from here. Name children with Ife, influenced Oriki, and consult the Ifa oracle, whose origins are rooted in this city. It has also become a center for Yoruba cultural tourism, attracting historians, artists, and spiritual seekers from around the world. Institutions like the museum and Obafemi Awolowo University help preserve this cultural archive. Now, this is where things get really important: the global Black connection. Across the Americas and the Caribbean, millions of Afro-descendants practice Yoruba-rooted religions like Santeria in Cuba, Candomblé in Brazil, Vodun in Haiti, and Orisha worship in the US, Trinidad, and beyond. And guess what? Their spiritual lineage, rituals, drum patterns, chants, and deities all trace back to Ife. In Cuba, Ogun is still revered. In Brazil, Oya still commands the winds. In the US, communities still call upon Orunmila for wisdom. They may have left Africa in chains, but their spirits never left Ife. Ife, therefore, stands not just as a Nigerian heritage site, it is a diasporic homeland, a sacred compass, pointing millions of Black people back to their spiritual and cultural origins. When people in Brooklyn, Salvador, or Havana invoke the Orisha, they are, in essence, calling home. From Havana to Harlem, folks still pour libations to Orisha. Its influence went global before passports were even a thing. In recent years, more African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans have visited this location to reconnect with their spiritual roots, participate in initiation rites, or even receive Yoruba names. Some return with tears, others with purpose, but all return with clarity about who they are. Ife is the living archive of Black memory, Black dignity, and Black sovereignty. It reminds the global Black community that they didn't begin as slaves, but as kings, queens, priests, artists, philosophers, and children of the gods. It is more than an ancient city. It is a mirror of African greatness, a spiritual compass, and a beacon for the global Black family. If this journey into the roots of Yoruba civilization stirred something now in you, you're not alone. Because deep down, history doesn't just teach us facts, it calls us home. You've made it this far. Don't ghost us now. Hit that like and subscribe button. And be sure to leave a comment if you felt something. Also, be sure to watch our next video in the series, because the soul of Africa has so much more to reveal.